Hey everyone, welcome to what I really think is now episode 23. We went back, counted everything. What threw the whole count was that emergency episode we have. But I don't know that we counted that as a full new episode.
I think that was a 0.5. I thought we
Right.
agreed on a
It was
0.5.
that's what I told my wife. So I'm like, no, that wasn't a full episode. That's what she said, but there's 24 of them. I'm like, but one of them's a fake one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's officially episode 23. I think we're gonna do one more and then we gotta kick it out to season 2. We gotta go in traditional network media show. So we'll do 24 and then we'll kick it off with season 2. Maybe we take a week off for Thanksgiving. I don't know, maybe. It was a 20.5. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. All right. So today's episode, I got a story to talk to you all about. And hopefully Atlassian doesn't get too mad. I'm kind of mad, which is why I want to talk about it. But Atlassian hopefully doesn't get too mad.
I've always said if you really want to mess with the engineer's day, mess with their tools.
Mess with their tools, yeah. So we're definitely going to talk about a juicy topic that just landed on my lap just this past week, and so I am a little. I want to voice my concerns. So we'll get into that, and then in what is starting to become a very common thread, regular trend is we got another CVE to talk about today. And then I figured let's talk about that QuizWiz today, man. That one was a doozy.
That one was.
And then we're gonna close things up. Let's talk about. I've been trying to catch up with that episode or that information from Brittany on the talk that we want to do. So maybe we can get some feedback from the community here and hopefully get some information or help us shape our talk. So, anyways, let's jump into the first topic. I think this is one I want to set the stage. Try not to get into too much trouble here. I'm gonna bump around the rails of what I should and shouldn't say, but this is primarily going to affect enterprise customers. And so if you're an enterprise customer or know somebody who's enterprise, is definitely going to be an impact for you. And so Atlassian hopefully has already reached out to you. Hopefully they've already, initiated these conversations. But if not, let me tell you what's going on. So we got to go back in time a little bit. We got to go to advanced roadmaps, Jira advanced roadmaps. When you make a plan, you can have the ability to create a team. But it's not just a team, it's a shared team. Okay? And this shared team is within the UI under plans, which is appropriate and reflects inside of the Jira Advanced Roadmap team environment. Okay? Now, that shared team is a very, very special team because there's a team field in Jira that is then directly associated to that team selection. Following with me so far, Rodney? You aware of this?
I'm with you.
Okay. So if you ever wanted to use that team field, you would have to create a shared team for your plan, and it's only available to Premier. Now, let's call it 6 months ago. It was a while back. Atlassian decided that they're going to go away from that. They're going to just utilize the team that is to the left of the plan in the UI, right? And so now those shared teams, most people today, they don't have a shared team anymore. Those teams have moved on over to the team, the regular team. That is the beautiful team that is now used with Compass, with Confluence, Atlas, Jira, Jira Work Management, Jira Software, right? It's a shared team across all your products, which makes so much sense, right? And it's no longer behind that paywall of having, that premium, having to have that premium tier or up, right? But that's not where my problem is. That is not my problem. My problem is Atlassian is treating this team as an org-wide team. Did you know this?
I think I kind of intuited it, but let's discuss this further.
So what does that mean?
What problems does that cause?
So that means that, I have 20 Jiras in one org, right? And my teams are unique to each site. At least they were until last week, right? Now they're shared across the entire org. So one team over here that I have completely locked off is now seeing every other team from every other site. And so now you just have this something C word, org wide. Org, let's make it very clear, Rob. Org wide. So all of your sites share your team, all of them. And it's an opt out functionality that Atlassian did here. They did it for us. No, this is org, all org. Okay, every single individual site has their own teams defined, but now you can see across the entire org. So I can see every other site's teams. And I don't like that. Right?
Mm.
And to add insult to your injury, the fix is a slap to the face, because the fix is, one, Atlassian already opted you into it. So they've already done it, right? It's already, if you're enterprise, hey Matt, if you're an enterprise customer, you're already a victim, right? But if you want to unroll it, right, if you want to undo those changes, the only way to do it is that they're circulating like a Excel file where you got to go site by site, put the ID of each team so that they can then undo it and put everything back where it was.
That seems a little... I'm trying to decide if the word gratuitous or hacky is appropriate, because they both kind of fit.
I have like 200 teams across 20 sites. I'm going to sit here for like a week putting these things all back together on something that they didn't even ask for my permission if I wanted, which is really the most upsetting part.
But when has Atlassian ever asked for permission to make any changes?
This is a pretty big change,
clouds.
But this is my data. But it's my data at this point.
But still, when has Atlassian ever asked for a permission to make any changes to cloud?
Yeah, but what's stopping them then from like saying, okay, now a story is going to be visible, like your JQL can be org wide.
I mean, I think that might have happened before. I mean,
I don't like sick, Rodney. You're delusional.
I'm serious though. This is one of the reasons that I do, in certain situations, do prefer data center, because if I see, hey, this change is going to have a major impact on how we do things, I could hold off till I could have the conversations with my team, figure out how are we going to manage this change. I don't have to wake up one day and realize all my teams are now org wide. I have the time, I have the choice when I prepare. And yeah, we have the release tracks.
I don't know if this was even behind a release track, though. I'm telling you, they just woke up one day and said, ta-da.
Freaking well, again, the idea is, even if we do have it on a release track, that only gives us 2 weeks to prepare. In some larger orgs, 2 weeks may be enough time to get the key stakeholders in a meeting together.
It's sloppy, is what I'll call it. Sloppy. I am, again, this is going to take unplanned time that I was not allocating for reverse engineering their mess that I now need to go fix.
Remember when we decided we wanted to be Jira admins?
No, the Jira admin life chose us, remember?
Exactly.
We didn't choose this life. If it wasn't for the fact that I got 2 hungry mouths out there, I got to go feed. Atlassian, why do you do this to me? But anyways, that's my story. So more of the story is, if you are using Teams, which I now kind of appreciate, right? I'm trying to find value. I do still have another little rant to talk about the whole team thing, right? But it is something you should definitely go look into, especially if you have more than one Jira in your site. Let's see what Bob's got to say. A new feature coming out that Atlassian will show you to org admins the status of upcoming product changes. I don't even think this was just like so low key. I got an email from an Atlassian person, which is very rare. Very rarely does Atlassian email me directly and go, we need you to respond to this email because we made a change in your environment. I'm like, great. That's never a good email. And then to which I responded, this is the dumbest thing that I've ever read. Hopefully this is not real. And to which Atlassian responded, oh no, it's real. Let's see what Matt says over here.
It's it's some real interesting tea sometimes when you get some of the Atlassians behind closed doors and hear what they really think about some of the stuff Atlassian does too.
I mean, I get the team, right? Now here's kind of like my last part, and we'll leave it here, right? I can appreciate the team, especially now that we're may or may not be, writing a book on something related to Jira and Confluence and that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That team field it plays a critical role, right? When used correctly, and I don't think it's there yet, but when used correctly, that team field is going to allow you to do some pretty neat things with respect to intra communication of your folks, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it needs to replace groups, in my opinion, for it to work.
So
Or
you
get
think it so you think you should have your teams be reflective of the groups.
not necessarily. Let me tell you what I want. I want when I go to share a filter to share it to the team, not to the group that I'm blinded to. Because unless I'm an admin, I don't know what the groups are. That's what I want. So if they're putting in this effort to empower the team, I want to be able to share a dashboard, share a project, permission settings with the
Subscribe
team.
to a filter.
Yeah, simple stuff like that. Because as of right now, the team is completely useless other than sending a mass email to a group of individuals. That's the only thing that works for
Which
right now.
we
Which I can
have
do for
email
free.
for.
Yeah, which I can do for
Yeah.
free without having to do my whole team thing, right? So
Mhm.
I think if Atlassian wants to at least convince me to get behind the whole team thing, especially as Bob here says, the team is the new assignee, which I don't agree with. We'll talk about that in a second.
Again, I think we've already had this talk, haven't we?
I don't know. They need to be able to make the team be a thing that you can actually use
I'm
productively.
not disagreeing with that part. I'm saying whether we should be able to assign something to a team or keep it just to an individual. We've had that talk. Because
But
I'm
have
like, I
we?
know exactly where you land on that spectrum, and I know where I land. I know we had words last time.
Well, let's have another words because I am not honestly not remembering. But here's my problem. The one thing I love about Jira, my absolute love, is that you can have only one assignee. That is my favorite feature of Jira.
So I'm going to counter that. What happens when that one assignee gets a upper respiratory infection, goes to his lung, and he's suddenly out for a week?
That is not that individual's fault. That is I mean, what is like one of the values of Agile, right? Is that you have these self-organizing teams that are really a team, right? Contrary not to what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, an individual needs to own something if you expect it to get done. Because if you don't expect it to get done, then share it to the team. But if you want it done, you give it to one person.
I could see both sides of this argument. I have been on both sides of this argument, but having been the person who could not even muster to get out of bed, let alone get to his Jira instance this week, um, I'm seeing the
Yes, but you could pass, right? Like it's okay that you're out sick. There should be another individual that can help. And
mhm.
if it's not, then you're really that critical to the organization, right? But that other individual should be able to pick it up and then own it as well. But the point is, you can only have one owner if you want to drive something to completion. Because if you and I are working on something together, i.e., a book, right? Who's to say that you're
Mhm.
doing that? I'm assuming you're doing your part, you're assuming I'm doing my part, and our parts are each other's parts, and nobody's doing any part.
As I said, I do see both sides of the argument here.
I'm just, you know
I
what?
have had
Matt is on this. Matt is here
I
with
have
me for a
my
good.
policy is, what do the teams want? What do my users want? Let me support the users and what they choose to do with the instance.
That's a dangerous thing to do, though, because you gotta
I mean, you have to guide them, obviously. You can't give them carte
you,
blanche, but
you gotta go
like
full
if
Steve
it's
Jobs
within
on this.
reason,
But you gotta go full Steve Jobs, otherwise, that is a dangerous thing. That is a dangerous thought because everybody's a snowflake.
You can't go full Steve Jobs because Steve Jobs objectively was a terrible person.
Okay, I'll admit that. But what I meant was Steve Jobs firmly believed in the customer doesn't know what they want. You have to show it to them. So you can't rely on the team to know what they want because they're going to want the most snowflake solution, most unique solution to them. And you can't build a business around snowflaked answers. You need to have standards and processes that
But
everybody's
if
going to
you
need to
have
follow.
everything, if you have everything in type blocks, it's going to be one size fits none.
But having everybody kind of on their own with their own customization, because I think this goes back to like, what's the hardest part about being a Jira admin? Knowing when to say no to a request.
Exactly. I think the honest, and I'm admitting I am being a complete devil's advocate here, because my honest stance is you need to start with some basic boundaries. You need to go, okay, tell me what you want. And then you, the Jira admin, needs to design a solution that takes into account the needs of the system, which is to have those controls, those checks and balances. Make sure you don't have 500 due date fields.
I take it you speaking from experience there.
I am. But you still give them enough that they feel they're getting some value and they're able to work freely without limits.
I like Matt's comment here. Call me Dr. No. Dude, I
I am
hate.
fully aware of Matt's style, and again, it works. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. My style is more let me tell you what you want. Because you're telling me a bunch of things, but you don't even know the system well enough to know what you want.
Dude,
That's
my
my job to know
favorite,
the system well enough to know what you want.
my favorite or my biggest pet peeve is I'll get a call, I need some Jira help. So I'm on the call. They're describing the problem to me, and then they're describing the answer to me. And I'm like,
Mhm.
why did you call me? You already know what you wanted.
If you're here to solution, why am I here?
Then,
The
but
whole
then
job is I'm supposed to give you the answer.
yeah, but then the stab and then the twist to the heart is when then they ask you for your feedback, and then your feedback doesn't align with their solution, and then they're like, no, you're wrong. And I'm like, I'm the guy that spends the entire day in this tool. But
I
what
literally
is that?
am the Jira guy.
Let's see what else. Matt's on a roll here today. Sure, ask the user what they want to do with Jira, not how they want me to change Jira. Makes sense. All right. So, anyways, those are my rants for today. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed it. But yes, obviously, a very sensitive topic for me this afternoon.
Hmm.
As I not not happy with. I'm gonna have to go sit there across every single Jira instance, and then go and click into every single team, find their ID, put it into a
Which is
file.
not an exposed field, is something you have to dig for.
Right. And yeah, and then we'll go from there. So annoying. But hopefully y'all enjoy that conversation, and hopefully y'all are non-enterprise users because it's a pain in the butt if you're an enterprise user. Let's see what Bob says here. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools.
Mm-hmm.
Way to quote the Agile Manifesto. Now where's Ken or our Agile folks? Okay. So that was topic numero uno. Again, in the chat, let me know if you guys are. Does anybody in the Jira Amigos, are any of you enterprise customers? Because if you are, it's a whole different ballgame. And it'd be good to know who are we talking to. I know Bob knows a lot about enterprise, especially because of your all line of work. But trust me, enterprise is a pain in the butt. And interestingly enough, I was very surprised to find out that the majority of Atlassian customers are enterprise customers or on the enterprise subscription. That blew my mind.
I mean, it's those features.
You don't get extra features though. I mean, you do,
Well, I
but
mean, they're features, but they're features like the VW bug.
All right. So next topics. You want to go CVE or should we bring it up with some more fun with the QuizWiz?
I think we should go CVE.
CVE. All right. Let's go CVE then.
So today, Atlassian announced that this CVE that is not actually technically not on their product. It's on the Apache ActiveMQ, which is used by Bamboo to do its messaging with the various agents. But because it is included in the product, they have to issue the CVE as well, and it does impact their product. This is another critical um, scale to 10 CVE. Again, all the usual things, no user interaction, automatic, the perfect thing to make a worm out of. Now, to remind everyone, we had one last week with Confluence. It was one that people over the past week have been saying we are seeing used and exploited in the wild. I imagine it's going to be 24 hours, if not less, before we see this one also used in the wild. So get out there, get this stuff updated. It is important.
Assuming you're using Bamboo though, right?
Yeah, you have to be using Bamboo. The mitigation, if you're not able to upgrade right away, is get behind a corporate firewall, which again, echoing from last week, we do not want our corporate firewall to be our only shield because if they're already in on the inside, you've already lost the game.
I don't know why, but every time I hear Bamboo talk about Matt says talk about trouble coming in threes. Matt, to echo again last week's conversation, right? As we get closer to this February, no more upgrades deadline. By the way, just quickly asking now because sorry, Matt, I'm like totally this was bad, but a thought came to my mind.
Uh-oh.
The data. So everybody talks about server end of life, but they always talk about Jira and Confluence. Does Bamboo have such an amazing like migration assistant as well, or what do they expect you to do with Bamboo?
There are some proof of concept tools that I've not seen really used widely that convert your Bamboo plans to a Bitbucket pipeline. I've not seen them used in a production instance yet, but I've heard them talked about. Um, it's
Because I did
basically the
talk
same thing as
to yeah, I was talking to one of my enterprise I don't know whatever you call them EAs from Atlassian, and he was telling me like, oh, you just stay on Bamboo on site or on premise. It just seemed like the right answer to me.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Bamboo's not a wildly popular product.
I just keep thinking of the bamboozled, the 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 little beans that you eat, the jelly beans.
Yeah. Even when I was using an on-prem Bitbucket instance, which I was just using for the experience to learn how to run Bitbucket, I was using Jenkins rather than Bamboo.
Yeah, I've never been a
Um,
big fan of Bamboo. Oh, look at this. Bob with the coming in clutch with his own internal tool.
mhm.
Anyway, so I was gonna ask you a different thing, but I totally
But
forgot.
yeah, thing is, we're going to still get these alerts after the February 2024 deadline. As we said last week, is we're going to continue to say these are going to keep coming out because data center is still going to be affected by these things. People are still going to have updates for those. If you're on server, it's just hackers getting free inside knowledge about, hey, here's this vulnerability that's not going to be fixed. Um, Now, what happens if you try and upgrade a server instance after the end of life using one of the data center upgrades? Your Jira, Confluence, whatever instance won't start up.
Well, that's not
Same thing
good.
happens when you don't have a server license now, or server maintenance, I should say. because you get the server license perpetually. You can run it forever. You just can't upgrade it without maintenance.
And you're gonna want that maintenance when the hackers come knocking.
Yeah.
All right. So again, go get your systems upgraded. Go check out the whole list of all the vulnerabilities that you got to be checking out for, because there's quite a few. So if you haven't upgraded, now might be the time for you to do a pretty big upgrade. Bob says the expired server license won't allow upgrades.
Yep. Well, the license isn't what's expiring. It's the maintenance agreement that expires that won't let you upgrade. You can still start the server as long as it's not on the version it was expecting.
Do you think there'll be like a black market of like Jira patches?
To be honest, it would not surprise me.
That'd be
Jira
crazy,
crack.
Jira crack. Keep Jira alive. A group of bandits that just don't want the Jira server to die. There could be like a hacktivist type of group, right? That stick it to Atlassian and say we're gonna keep Jira alive and start pushing patches.
I've heard some people push for a after the February 2024 for Atlassian to open source the Jira server code and let the community do what they will with it.
But that would go against, like you said, that data center is basically the same thing, right? So at that point, they're gonna.
That's why I think Atlassian is not going to do it, because data centers essentially run the same code, so they're just giving away their own code, and then they're eating into their own bottom line because those are customers. Now you have the open source option instead of going to data center or going to cloud or going wherever Atlassian wants to go next, and it's just going to eat into their profits. I don't see this being something Atlassian will ever support, but I have still heard the call pretty loud and clear from the open source guy saying, "Hey, you're not using this anymore. Open source it."
I am curious if we'll ever come back full circle, right? Because we totally missed this last couple of episodes, but Jira is more expensive today than it was 2 weeks ago. And heck, all the products, all the cloud products are more expensive today.
It's that time of year.
And so, like, at what point is like cloud going to be so expensive that everybody's going to be like, screw it, let's just go somewhere else?
I mean, for every time the server or the cloud ratchets up in price, the ratchet up on the data center side is always more. So eventually we're going to get to a point where they're both going to be expensive, but data center is just going to be so ungodly expensive that no one in the right mind would choose it.
That's what I told that last. So when I was talking to my EA, he's like, we have a hard time convincing our customers to want to go to the cloud. And I'm like, just make it cheaper. Just make it cheaper. But I don't know. We'll see what happens there. If I was a betting man, though, I start working on Jira 2.0. Who wants to start a coalition? And let's start making our own Jira. There is a. Have you ever seen that repository for the free Jira?
I haven't.
There's a repository out there that has a copy of Jira. It's the older UI, the older like vertical UI in the cloud, but it's like totally free. It's a Git repo. I don't know what it's been like a while since I've seen it, but free Jira GitHub repo.
We see most products go through a cycle where they grow, they become dominant, they eventually slow down, become less agile, and then something new comes up and eats their lunch. And I think eventually it's going to happen again where something new, something we can't even imagine yet, is going to take the place of Jira, just the same way Jira took the place of so many other tools.
But that's where we got to go at the front lines and go make that Jira. So that money goes into our pockets as opposed to somebody else's pockets.
I have given up my coding ways too long ago to even
There is,
begin
I
helping
know,
with
me
that.
too. I don't want to code this thing up. There is a free repo out there though. I need to go find it. How to see many forks on the free. Did you find it, Bob? There is. I know I've seen it. I saw it like in April. I saw it. I've seen it this year. I just can't find it. But there's a free
Hmm.
repo that has like all the source code and everything to build your own Jira as a baseline, at least. All right. So that's topic number 2. Again, go past your systems. Let's switch on over to this morning's problems. Let's see. Matt says the problem with the Jira replacement is that Jira does so many things, not just bugs.
I
Yeah, I mean,
mean,
you'd have to do something pretty
that's why
next
I think
level.
whatever replaces Jira, we can't even envision yet because Jira just is so flexible and does so much.
Open source Jira isn't that attractive without the marketplace apps. You know, it's an interesting statement, Sean, because one of the biggest complaints I hear about Jira is that crap, you can't do anything with Jira without having to go buy something else. And I think we've talked about this in the past, right? Is Jira too expensive now? Because you literally can't do much without having to, go and get a third-party add-on for something. You need a third-party add-on for like almost everything to make
But
it.
how many times have we been to Team 24 or been to Team 23 or Team 22 or whatever? And like, oh, great, Atlassian has this new feature. Well, such vendor's going to have a bad day now.
I remember I remember walking, like being at the expo and looking at like the AI companies. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. You could do AI with Jira as a plugin. And then walked into the keynote, walked back out and going, uh-oh.
And that is not the first time that happened at a team event. Team 22, Team 21, I think it was team back then. The summits before them. This has been an ongoing trend where Atlassian goes, hey, a lot of people really like this feature. What if we just put that into Jira? And it's always their new premium product, data center,
Dude,
cloud, whatever.
that stuff is pissing me off now, man.
Mm.
Let's leave that one for a topic of next week. But we seriously gotta low key talk about how all the cool new features are in premium or enterprise. And
I mean,
yeah,
it's
well,
just the way Atlassian's always done things.
let's talk about it though towards the creator program thing that we're going to talk here at the end, because I just remind me, somebody in the chat here remind me that I want to talk about the fact that these cool new features are premium only.
Bob
So
has a point here.
Atlassian
We'll
buys
move
that
on.
app, but
They either say we're going to make it or we're just going to buy that ourselves.
to be fair, when they rip off an add-on, they often buy the partner. I don't like. I think this is
I
going to be
mean, they
fun.
do that. They do that on occasion. But I mean, like
Forgive me.
single sign on with data center when that came out, they didn't buy resolution.
Why are we in your background?
I was wondering when you noticed that. I've been live streaming that for the entire time.
This is why your internet is so lackluster. You're using up all the bandwidth on the time. Blaming your internet companies. Oh, you, man.
Yes, I'm eating up the entire neighborhood's fiber line
At least the little bit that's going to your
through my
house.
little copper cable.
Like I said, at least a little bit that's going into your house. All right. Let's talk about the events of this morning. What do you think? The good, the bad, the ugly. And let's set the stage.
All right, so if you guys don't know, Sajid, another of the community leaders, he does a quiz show for Atlassian community members called the QuizWiz. Last year's champion is my partner this year, Bob.
King
And in
Bob.
light of
King
King
Bob.
Bob, excuse me. Um, and in light of this year's theme from Atlassian of Impossible Alone, Possible Together, their tag team matches 2v2. This morning it was Alex's and his partner's turn, the
Dita.
Grummies, to be on the show, and it has not aired yet. It's only been recorded, but I did get to attend the recording. Bob attended most of it as well. And Alex, why don't you tell me how you did?
Dude, We were 35 minutes into it, and there was 5 points on the scoreboard.
Combined between both teams.
Between both teams, there was 5 points on the scoreboard, and we're like 70% of the way through the questions. These things were freaking hard. Also,
I'm not sure how much they were hard or they were not geared towards an American. Because I'm sitting there going like, I don't know anything about soccer. I don't
so
know
it's not just
anything
me.
about either football.
My wife was like yelling. She's like, when I came out, she's like, "Why are we yelling?" I'm like, "Cause we don't play soccer in the U.S. Nobody cares about soccer." Oh my gosh, it was just
So
like
the format of these quiz whizzes is there are 10 general round questions that are split between the two teams. If one team picks question, if they don't get the answer, the other team has a chance to steal the points.
not all of them, but
For
7.
seven, yeah, they get a chance to steal 7 points. If it's a general knowledge question, a hint will be given, and then they get a chance. Both teams get a chance for 5 points again.
No, it's not like
If it's a
that.
lasting question, it's just done.
No, well, first, the whole Atlassian thing was so unfair because I picked all the Atlassian ones, and if you don't get them right, then that's it. Like it's game over, and like you don't even
Yeah.
get a chance. So that like there should be a hint.
And
And
last year there were. It's just for an Atlassian specific community, it's hard to give a hint without just giving away the answer.
yeah, because the whole Forester wave and being in the trees and ocean was such a giveaway. Nobody was gonna get that, man.
Bob,
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That was my
King
second
Bob
proposal.
actually, because me and Bob, we test ourselves on these same questions as we're watching you guys, because that's how we train.
Well, we train by showing up. No, but
So,
I really do think that a novel improvement to the whole thing, right, would be one, make it fair so that all the questions have a hint. But two, once you go to hint mode, it's a snipe to the answer. Whoever gets it in first gets the points.
that being said, I think the one great thing they added for this round of the QuizWiz are the speed rounds.
Well, that's the only reason why we won is because of that speed round.
And again, remind me, how much did you win by?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like my
Eh,
homie Vin Diesel says, doesn't matter if you win by a mile or an inch. Winning's
And
winning.
I keep telling you, it's the drama, it's the play, it's the fanfare of the moment. When I'm sitting there counting the questions you got right as you're doing it, and the moment the Dita answers that last question, right as the buzzer beeps,
That was a buzzer
and I
beater.
know it's right. I'm like, oh my god, they just barely,
Barely.
barely.
Was it by a hair?
It was as the buzzer was beeping, she got that answer in. Like, oh, please let them count it because that's the one they need.
Yes, Matt. The
And
Americans
this
are
is the
complaining.
thing that's Alex like, that don't matter. No, this is the drama of it.
No, no, well, no. So I was complaining because Ed, who's not on here because he's in Europe, came online. We have a little group chat going on, and Ed's like, I missed it. Who won? And my great partner here. No, no, no. He didn't even ask who won. He said, "Did Alex win?" Which is a yes or no question. And my great partner here decides to go on and tell him the whole story that he just described to you, right? Of how I barely won by 1/2 of a point. And I'm like, it was a yes or no question, Ronnie. You just needed to say yes or no, not go into a whole detail as to like whatever. Yeah, so Bob, it came down to
Again, you've
really the last
got to
question.
tell that story.
It
This
came
is
down
how
to the last.
champions are made.
Hey, I called it going into the speed round that in true Tom Brady spirit, we were gonna win it in the fourth quarter at the last minute. Because that's how we
He
do it.
did. He did.
That's how we do it. Tom Brady. I channeled my inner Tom Brady and my inner Vin Diesel. Winning's winning. But we survived. Unfortunately, we survived to go on to another round. and my stress does not go away. But your victory will make the best QuizWiz. You know what? That is the whole reason I'm here, just to make it fun. That QuizWiz. The one thing that I don't like about the QuizWiz is that it's so quiet. And I don't know, man. No, I don't want to watch you. Like, how many of you guys would come here if Ronnie were just and I were staring at each other? Exactly. See, but anyways, we gotta make we gotta make a strategy here because I heard I'm going up against Ed and Nikki.
I think they may do another shuffle. I just know
That's what
you're in the pot with Ed and Nikki. Also Brittany and her partner.
they
So
passed.
those are the 3 teams so far guaranteed for round 3.
I just didn't want to be in it anymore, but I also didn't want to go out. By the way, folks, in case you missed, well, when you watch it, you should definitely watch it. But I tried to forfeit at the beginning. Ronnie didn't let me. And then the other team lost internet for a good solid 5 minutes. So I was like, they forfeit. So, but they didn't let me win either. I told them I wasn't going to be proud, Bob. I wasn't going to be proud of the win, but I'll take a forfeit from the other team. So if you guys want to forfeit, let me know. You know what?
Again, it's about the drama of it.
So for a half a second there, because I knew we were gonna have a guest quizmaster, I was like, "There's no way Sajid would have made Ronnie the guest quizmaster. Like it would be so unfair."
I thought about it for a second, seeing if anyone would call me on it.
I was like my heart sank there for a second when I saw you when I first logged in. I was like, "He wouldn't, would he? No, that doesn't make sense." Ronnie be texting me
No.
the answers.
But do I text you the answers?
You kind of scared me there. You when we were gonna go into the speed round, I saw that you and Bob sent that message with like the style of questions, not the answers or anything. But when I just looked at my phone, I was like, "What is this? Should I peek? Maybe they have the answer."
No, I mean, I go deep. I go through with all the normal round questions before the speed round. And I go and categorize them because I'm trying to find Sajid's pattern about what we need to study because there are some major holes in our
You
knowledge.
can't study this thing. The only thing I learned out of today's round: no soccer and no Disney. And the Disney pulled me out because I know Disney. See, for my wife that says I waste all my time spending all this time watching Disney Plus shows, it paid off.
But did it?
I mean, I won. So yes, I think it did. Last round though, Pele got me too. I had no idea, no freaking clue who the hell Pele was.
I could not bring up the name when that question came up because I watched that episode and I'm like, I know that name. What is that name?
And then I went to downtown Disney. Like, well, shoot, when did I go down? I think Labor Day. I went to downtown Disney, and they have a Pele store, and it's all soccer gear. So I told my wife, I'm like,
Jeremy goes, especially those outside the US, give Alex some help. Give him
soccer.
all your soccer trivia. Anytime he tweets anything, does anything, put some soccer trivia in there.
Drop in some soccer trivia because I don't know anything. You know what though? To end this one here because I do have a 3 o'clock I have to go run to. But that whole cloud migration had to be the most clever use of those pictures for it to be soccer techniques. Because it was like a server cut, right? Server end of life.
Got that
And
picture
then
somewhere around
a
here.
bicycle ride to a rainbow in the cloud.
Let me see if I can find that picture because I have it somewhere. Here it is.
Matt says did not know Pele is Tom Brady from the Brady Bunch. Tom Brady would be the GOAT. And let's see, we got okay for everybody here. What does this picture represent to you all? What would you get out of this? Because I got a server cut, server end of life, a bicycle going to the clouds in a rainbow, cloud migration. So end of server, cloud migration. Tell me that's not the most genius answer we had there. But no. was not right because apparently there's a scissors kick and a bicycle kick in soccer.
A chip kick and a rainbow kick.
I can't believe this. How am I supposed to know this? Yeah, soccer is going to be there on QuizWiz. Most of the competing teams don't live in the US. I know. But the championship teams are coming are going to be US so far. Ronnie and I are facing the German team.
This.
Wait to see the pop culture questions will be like. Dude, did you all, fun fact, did you all know that apparently, what's his name? What's the guy's name? The guy from Die Hard? Bruce Willis?
Bruce Willis.
Did you all know he was a singer before? Before he became
Again,
an
I
actor?
would have lost that on my own. Bob pulled that out as soon as Sajid asked it.
Really?
I'm
He
like,
knew it?
yes.
What? I was so on track with my Will Ferrell, though. That was much more plausible.
Again, there's a reason he is King Bob.
Well, I like to see King Bob go against my Dita because she was, again, my savior yet again. Although I did come in clutch with my temporal loom and my Jin. All right, last 15 minutes. Let's talk about the creator program, folks. Rodney and I were embarking on a new journey here as content creators. We've talked about this in the past, but we have a unique opportunity where we want to present, hopefully, fingers crossed. If not, we're gonna definitely do something at Team 24, whether Atlassian sanctions it or not. That's all up to them. But we want to do. We're presenting for we want to do a talk, and we're kind of hoping to get some ideas from you all here, right? Because the talk is about community, and what about the Atlassian community would make it interesting for a talk?
To be clear, and Alex, I'm not sure if you got this. What I'm doing on the
You're doing multiples,
community,
no?
yeah. I want to do a Jira Life live panel and what we're doing over there as well.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're gonna be on the floor somewhere at Team 24 with microphones and stuff. We're gonna pull a full Biro and Nikki. Because I have a funny suspicion that Biro won't be such an active player this year.
He has been moving a little more to the side and letting Nikki take front and center a little bit more here lately.
Well, I mean, he's basically gone all entrepreneurship, right? With his Misfit Founders.
And
But yeah,
I mean, it's a great, by the way, if you're not watching the Misfit Founders podcast, go check them out as well.
Phenomenal podcast. But yeah, definitely I suspect there's gonna be a void, and we're definitely gonna do a TJL panel, even if we just like do it in the elevator somewhere. Like we're setting up shop.
I mean, I'll steal a corner of the community section again. I am not ashamed. You know how I was at Team 23.
Can you imagine we draw like the biggest crowd and everybody's like, what's going on over here? And it's like the Jura Life Live. We'll have to have the t-shirts. But anyways, yeah, so George is kind of, trying to get a couple of talks together. So, but anything that you guys think of for Team 24 that you'd like to see, let Ronnie and I know, because we're trying to put together like a case as to one, what do we talk about in the Jira Life panel, right? Like what topic should we talk about then? So if you have any suggestions, recommendations, comment section, chat window there, definitely take advantage of that to let us know your thoughts so we can kind of figure out what would a Jira Life panel live look like, and what would you like to see there? Oh, maybe in front of the art. You know what? We may is release team gonna be there next year, Sean? Is that like a thing? Because last year we kind of just lingered around the custom charts booth, but I don't think they're gonna be there next year.
No, I think they're going to be fully merged in with Tempo by next year.
Yeah. So we may be looking for a home. So Sean, if you need a couple of A-list celebrities hanging out by your booth, let us know.
One of which may or may not already be your employee.
One of which may or may not be. So yeah, so maybe look for us in the release team booth. Commentary on the announcements. Murray. I'm also I might also rent the Bill Murray. What, like, is that just an extra room on there? Explain more of the Bill Murray room. Well, we have a room. All right, but anyways, I think we're getting down here to the last 10 minutes. So any last? Oh yeah, the reminder thing, right? Remember the whole creators thing? What was I going to talk about? What was it? What, guys? Remind me, folks. What was I talking about? That I said remind me. Had to do with content. Oh boy. See, this is why I should have done it back then. Trustworthy brewing room has a Bill Murray room. All right, that'd be cool. I'll figure out how to stay awake this time. I couldn't make it to the custom charts after party. Too late. Ronnie,
Apparently everyone apparently for the custom charts after party, everyone was afraid to approach me because I had this whole entourage, and it wasn't an entourage. They were my drunk friends I was trying to keep safe.
Oh man, I'm totally.
The creator program.
What was I was gonna mention something about, it wasn't created, like, oh, premium features. Here we go. See, my wife with the assist. Okay, so here's my problem. I don't know if you all saw my video yesterday, but yesterday's video was about the new AI virtual agent for Jira Service Management. Well, I go make my cool little video, right, as I do every Saturday morning, only to be greeted with the fact that the virtual agent is a premium only feature or enterprise. Y'all know how much JSM premium costs?
Too much.
Too much. $50 at least, right? I don't got that kind of money.
Per agent.
But it's only me, right? So I was like, I was gonna go drop a comment to the creators program and go, hey folks, how can I make content when I don't have access to the content? Right? There's gotta be a way.
You're not the first person to say that in the program, because I've been saying that for about 11 months now.
I feel like this needs to be a feature that we have as content creators, because how do we make the content without access to the content?
If we can't access the tools, we can't show off the cool things you can do with the tools to the people you want to sell the tools to.
Right. But then, so I was like, okay, fine, whatever. That's one thing I'm gonna go and ask for. But two is Atlassian should do a better. What did Bob say? Be an Atlassian. You know what? Jira
that only worked for one of the two creators on this podcast.
All right. So, but my second request to Atlassian would be, hey, why do all the features need to be behind the paywall? Because the automation rules is like the perfect model that I think they should follow, which is everybody gets automation rules from the free through the enterprise, but how many rules you get is dependent on your subscription, right? And since they're doing a very similar model with the AI virtual assistant, virtual agent, right, where you get 1,000, 1,000 actions or whatever per every paid user. Well, why can't I have like 10 free actions on the free and like 100? Scale that up, because I think it's a big miss, right? Automation rules in Confluence totally paywalled under premium. Standard gets 0.
This is the strategy they've been using since data center, though.
But it's
make
not
all the new shinies on the expensive thing to get people to buy the expensive thing.
I don't mind.
And what they should be doing, and again, Alex, what they should be doing is they should be acting like drug dealers. Give people a little taste.
A little taste, man. A little taste.
And then get them hooked on it. And then say, oh, you want more? You want to use this everywhere? That's enterprise.
You want unlimited? You want a buffet? It's enterprise. Yeah, I might have to, Sean, I might have to find myself an Atlassian partner. Not sure if you know of any. Send one my way. But yeah, that was kind of my base complaint. One is Atlassian, for content creators that we are, we gotta have the resources to create these contents, right? Virtual agents shut down after the 10th IM.
10th message, basically.
Okay. And then number 2 is give us some tier, right? Be the drug dealer. Give us a little bit of a taste, because I could do a full-fledged video with just the peak. I don't need the whole
I
full-fledged.
have already burned a lot of my demos and my trial licenses just on posts. I'm like, there are times where I've had to schedule out when I'm going to do all my data center posts for when I had a license available.
Yep. Marketplace apps are already in the dealer mode. Yeah, these folks that give me free under 10 users, they're the biggest marketplace apps that I review, because I'm able to do it.
They're free.
I'm able to do it, and I'm able to take advantage of it. So, but yeah, definitely something I'm going to be bringing up here to our guardian angels of the creator program, because I was struggling this last Saturday, to try to make a good video. And I'm like, I can't make a better video than what I did because of the limitations of the resources I had. And I'm like, I'm already paying for Jira Premium and Confluence Premium. I can't add an extra $50 for JSM Premium.
Yeah, there is something called One Atlassian where they go through and they'll actually build you a full, basically demo instance that's already pre-populated with data and examples and setups and stuff. And it is great for being able to do some of these demos. But again, it's very limited who gets access to that. I think it's pretty much partners and community leaders at this point.
Yeah, but they're not
And
making
even
content.
then, you have to plan that in advance because you got to give them like 48 hours to build that out.
Well, for now, maybe I'll get myself some sponsors to pay up JSM Premium, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, that was kind of a little annoying thing that I thought that Atlassian should at least give us a little teaser on the free, or I don't even mind JSM Standard. It is a 50, like it is 20 versus $50. That's a big giant difference between that.
Agents, JSM agents have always been expensive.
But JSM
That's
Premium
always
agents is way more expensive.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying. Sometimes I get frustrated with it too because it's like, come on, help me help you,
me.
Atlassian. Help me help you.
Atlassian, if you're listening, please get us some resources so we can make some good content for you. Because I was almost embarrassed, and I did not want to publish that video because I'm like, I can't show anything. And so I'm like, I showed what I could given the resources that I had, but hopefully in the future we get some better resources. Anyways, a bit of a drama-filled episode today. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like and share it with everybody you know. I saw a perfect a closing statement that I want to do. I saw a perfect comment on LinkedIn about the Jira Live. I don't know who it came from, but somebody described it as the place to come and vent about your Jira frustrations. So treat this. If you guys ever want to come in here, I am going to be reaching out to a half a dozen people that want to help, co-host with us. So that's coming. So we are going to be having a lot more guests and hosts over the last few episodes of the year. So if you want to be on here, do make sure you reach out to Roddy or I directly. We are looking for a couple of other people, and I am going to be reaching out to, like I said, I got about 6-8 people that are already interested. And so we're going to be putting together a schedule and agenda for when people can, slot their ways into being on the Jira Life. So at any point, we can always have 10 people on here. So if any of you ever want to come on, show your pretty faces, amazing backgrounds, Sean, you're always welcome to come on here. So with that said, let's close her out because I do got to run to do something else.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. My friend here is Alex, Dr. Jira Ortiz. You can find his channel.
I don't get the fun names anymore.
No, you chose a nickname. You got to stick with it for a little bit. You can find his channel at youtube.com/atech tutorials. My name is Rodney, the Jira Guy Nissen. You can find me at thejiraguy.com. We are produced by Robert King Bob Rouen. I haven't done this so long that I'm blanking at the next part.
Maybe we gotta work on a more streamlined version. Folks,
yeah, we do have to work
I
on
will
a
tell
streamline.
you, just to cut us off here, but tomorrow I do anticipate being the day where I hit 1 million views on YouTube. So
Absolutely. Go help him out. Get some of
go
those
watch the
views
video.
in. Just
Get me
watch it
the,
all on loop.
not the same one.
Yeah.
Just go through like a playlist.
Yeah, we record these every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Come join us in the other Jira Amigos as we talk Jira, latest events, and what's happening in the community. If you can't catch us live, you can catch us on Spotify, Apple iTunes, or wherever you get your podcast from.
And don't forget.
And remember, we didn't choose the Jira life. The Jira life chose us. Thanks for watching.